Hey, my name's Ryan, and welcome to Training in the Yard, episode 3. Here we go. All right. I think with today's episode of Training in the Yard, I really want to take a step back and make sure that I am expressing training in the most scientific and optimal way. So today is going to be based upon that narrative right there. Let's max out everything. Yeah, you heard that right. We are maxing out on everything today, and we've got 3 sort of, I guess you could say, more like an oddball exercise, although they're not that oddball, right? They're just not as prevalent in general strength training communities, I guess. I don't know. But before we get into that, we need to warm up. And in order to do 2 of those exercises, I'm gonna need the rest of what goes with this right here, and that is jerk blocks. So I'm gonna bring all of that out, and that is gonna count as a big portion of the warm-up today, because there's a lot of moving pieces, and it's pretty heavy. So let's get started with that. You're an idiot. All right, Oak. Ooh, perfect. Look at that. And this concludes episode 3 of Training in the Yard. I hope you had fun with me today. I'm just kidding. I don't know why I get myself into these situations, but we have an entire workout ahead of us, so let's take a look at the Team Builder app and get started. Phew. All right, before we get into the fun stuff for the day, we're gonna get started with some jumps. And we have single leg broad jumps, 2x5. And then we've got a med ball vertical jump and reach, 2x3. So let's get started with that. And if there's anything useful to talk about when we're doing them, well then we'll talk about it then. All right, so we got 5 reps on each leg here. I'm literally just gonna try to jump out as far as I can with 1 leg at a time. I'm gonna land with 2 just to soften that blow. Probably jumped out of frame right there because I was jumping so far. I'm sorry about that. Jumping is good for so many things. One thing I think jumping is really good for is just letting you know if you have the requisite tools to be a powerful individual, or an individual who can express force readily and immediately. If you don't have a decent ability to jump, it's probably not for technical reasons, right? Or something of that nature. It's literally that you just don't possess a big enough engine or a efficient enough engine to produce force such that you can jump in a aggressive manner. And the only way you're going to change that is if you get stronger and you jump more. Listen, I'm not saying that I'm the greatest jumper in the world ever either. Just talking shop, as they say, huh? Come on. All right, medical med ball. Why do they call it a medicine ball? 2 sets of 3. Just gonna come up into a tall position on my tippy toes, snap down, try to throw this ball as high as I can, and jump as high as I can as well. Med balls are fun because they give you like something extraneous to propel, right? And just kind of adds in a fun element to jumping. So 2 sets of 3, be really aggressive. I felt like I got no air right there. Let's try to get a little more jump. Never, ever, 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 ever take jumping out of your program. Always, always jump. And there's always a jump that you can do. One of the most regressed versions you can do is just a simple ankle bound, ankle pop, whatever you want to call this. Start there. All right. Jumping is done. Let's move on to the next part of the session. All right, now moving on to the mobility portion of the session. We're gonna go snatch balance with the pause at the bottom. We're gonna do a couple 10-yard sprints, nice and easy, just to help extend the warm-up. I'm sweating a little bit, but would like to sweat a little bit more. And then finally, get into some weighted Jefferson curls from a deficit. Just gonna pause at the bottom of these for just a second or two and just kind of wiggle around. So here we go. Go ahead and take off a quick little sprint here, nice and easy. Trying to go as deep as I can.
That's what she said.
Really allow each vertebrae to try to roll, flex individually as much as I can. All right. Another set here. Let's try to be a little bit quicker with these. Yep, starting to feel relatively warm. The furnace is going. All right, okay. Pretty warm here. Feeling good. Let's move on to the next portion of the session. All right, going into my bag here, getting out my shoes, because the next thing we have on the menu are Clean Grip Power Snatches. Now, I've never really done these before. I've kind of messed around with them in like a conditioning circuit or something like that, but I've never pushed them to a crazy degree. And well, today we're gonna max them out. Okay, so something I foresee myself struggling with a little bit is in a snatch, I don't early arm bend at all because my arms are short enough such that, you know, that doesn't have to happen. But I love finding contact in the crease of my hip if I'm snatching or if I'm cleaning or power cleaning. I think I'm definitely going to be doing some early arm bend. It's just going to be weird doing that, but then snatching after that, if that makes sense. Said I'm also going to do power snatches, but if I can get into a deep snatch with a closer grip, I might try that as well. Honestly, it's just like a big science experiment right now, and we'll see how it goes. Let's just kind of go for it here. Wow. All right. Okay. This platform is a little jumpy, I think for two reasons. Number one, it's just not on perfectly flat ground. And number two, these boards aren't sandwiched all the way together. Let's try screwing them in a few more places and see if we can get them a little bit tighter. And at the end of this, I'm actually going to put these in my garage and use them as a squat platform if they hold up okay, which I think they will. That actually took a lot of the jumpiness out, so that's pretty cool. All right, let's go 25. That's fun. I'm gonna move my hands out just a hair from where they just were, because I feel like that will be a sweet spot where it's still extremely close grip relative to my snatch grip, but wide enough that I can get into somewhat of a deeper squat, because I'll try to get into a full snatch with these if I can, and not just power snatching. So let's see. There it is. All right, I'm gonna make myself feel really cool today, and I'm gonna tape up the wrists, like actually tape up the wrists with some athletic tape. Oh, I don't have any pre-wrap. And while we're doing this, we can talk about the utility of such a odd exercise like this one, because this is an odd one for sure. The first thing that comes to mind is, and you could probably guess this if you watched any of my content before, is that it's fun. And training should be fun to some degree. It shouldn't always be exactly what you want to do, right? You shouldn't just like pursue hedonism. Ooh, there's your 50-cent word of the day. Because that might lead you astray, you know? But you should definitely enjoy your training. You should find fulfillment in your training. But then secondarily, I find that variation is an extremely useful teaching tool, in that there's this phenomena called stochastic resonance, and that is a phenomena that originates in acoustics. And apparently, and I'm not familiar with how it works in acoustics, but I believe it is that if you add some sort of background noise or some white noise, perhaps to an audio track, it will help some of the elements that you're wanting to stick out a little bit more. And that same phenomenon can be applied to training and us as humans. You continue to do the same thing over and over and over and over again, which, let me preface what I'm going to say with saying you absolutely should do that if you want to get really, really good at something, because you need that repetition in order for you to really understand the task at hand. But that can get pretty monotonous, and the monotony can drown out some of the elements that you're wanting to potentially focus on a little bit more. And so adding a little bit of variation to an exercise will potentially help something stick out a little bit more and allow you to focus on something in a different light. And then you focusing on that thing may help you understand that same exact thing within the task that you're trying to get better at. So for example, because contact is going to be so weird in this exercise, I'm assuming that that is going to be the thing that sticks out, because I'm not pursuing it in the standard environment, which I would, just like a regular snatch. So the monotony won't be there. I'm going to really be able to focus on that contact, and perhaps me focusing on it, even though it's slightly different than how it is in a snatch, maybe I will learn something or gain a feel that will just improve my snatching contact overall. That's the idea. This doesn't have to be something you apply all the time. In fact, it's probably better done intermittently, you know, but I definitely would recommend trying it and seeing if it helps you improve something at all. And I'm just trying to like give you a really clear example of how it might work, but I wouldn't go into something like this like trying to expect a specific phenomena to reveal itself. I would just go into it kind of blind and allow the phenomena to reveal itself on its own. And so that way the learning feels a little bit more authentic. Enough yapping. This feels kind of useless, but I feel cool, so let's keep it moving forward. Took forever to get through that freaking piece right there, so let's do this one more time and then we'll start adding some more weight. Let's build slowly today. Take our time. That felt like butter. Ew. Might have a little bit of fun with this today. And this is why when I'm talking about allowing phenomena to reveal themselves to you, that's just a really fancy way of saying that you realized something. My arms are longer in the turnover because my grip is shorter or more narrow. And so I'm struggling with that turnover a bit right now and keeping that bar close. So I'm gonna have to I'm gonna imagine that my arms are like a whip and they're just gonna have to crack and unfold really close to me. And I think that will help me catch it a little bit more balanced. Let's see if I can make this one. There you freaking go, Bob's your uncle, huh? Every rep is feedback, whether it's positive feedback or negative feedback, whether it's you want to continue doing what you're doing because you hit that rep perfectly, or if it didn't feel like smooth as butter, there's something you could have adjusted to make it feel like butter. There's always feedback, always. You just got to pay attention. Usually I'm pretty strict on not trying to walk a rep forward, but I'm gonna allow that today. All right, that was 2 of 5. Let's go straight to 225, and then we'll start getting pretty close to whatever I think I'm capable for the day. I don't know, maybe 250 would be a good goal. If I got 275, that would just be absolutely electric. We'll see. I now have my 8-month-old son watching me and my wife, so there's no way I can fail this rep, right, buddy?
Oh, man.
I'm a huge disappointment. Oh, this is unfortunate because I know I have the ability to do more weight on this. It's just a little foreign. So I feel like I'm going to be here all freaking day trying this out. So, lock the freaking doors, close the gate, throw away the key. We're going to be here a while. Hey, where else would you rather freaking be though, huh? It's a beautiful day. Come on. All right, I'm not even going to think on this one. I'm just going to rip it. Yep, don't think. Yes. All right, let's go 245. Dang, did I not bring any clips out here? I didn't. Shoot. They're too far away for me to go get them. Now that we're here, so far away. Check out the athleticism here. Ready? Go get.
Oh, Finn.
Sissy. If at first you don't succeed. Yes. Yes. Yep. 255. It's pretty amazing the amount of technology and the sophistication of it that's just immediately accessible to a lot of us. And we should be pretty fortunate that we are, but you can take a video of you doing something with your smartphone and then 10 seconds later slow it down, watch frame by frame, see exactly what happened. That's what I'm doing right now. And just seeing it as opposed to only feeling it. Feel is a really good tool, and feel in and of itself, separate from anything else, is useful. Just perceiving things through feel, but sometimes you want to combine that with a visual. And I can see that walk that one forward because I'm I am just maximizing the amount of dorsiflexion that I have, and didn't sit that one perfectly over my center of balance, and I had to walk it forward. So got the rep, but let's see if I can just clean it up a little bit, getting that visual and seeing exactly how it looked and how I can potentially change that in my mind might help me for this next set. I know I love to joke around, I know I like to have fun, but let's lock in right here. Yep. Did somebody order 2 plates and a quarter? Wow, he took his shirt off. He's so cool. Get the platform nice and clean. the shoes dry. All right, still have a bunch to do today, so I'm gonna give that one more try. See if I can really focus, send it as hard as I can, and make this right. But if I don't make it here, I'm gonna move on. It's not in the cars today. That's all right. Let's move on. All right. Next on the agenda for the day is the push press. I think that'll be fun. All right, again, we're just building up to a top single today. So let's bring the weight over here and just add weight and keep building up. I don't know. I said that twice. I'm already pretty warm, so I'm going to take bigger jumps on this and take less time to get to that top single. Now, the push press is an exercise I'm very familiar with and extremely confident in my technique in. So whenever I'm doing an exercise like this, I think as little as possible. And the only thing that I really try to think about is just pushing as hard as I can. And so we're going to do just that. Energy is fading and the sun is as well. I'm going to try 335. Only try once and let's see what happens. All right, whenever you're doing a max push press, there will come a extremely noticeable sticking point, potentially more noticeable than in any other exercise, where the impulse that you've generated from your legs diminishes and you transfer pretty much everything over to your arms, and it's like right here. And the biggest piece of advice I could give you is to not allow your elbows to stay forward, but allow them to flare and get beside your head like this, and that will keep everything, the weight, over your center of gravity more. Eliminate the weight from being out in front, which is inefficient. So try to transfer it and get it here, and then just press as hard as you can. Just press, press, press as hard as you can. Let's freaking go. Yes. All right, daylight is fading quickly, and I still have one more exercise to max out on. It's the one I'm least looking forward to, but we still need to do our training in the yard book review. Today I have the strength training manual written by Mladen Jovanovic, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Let me preface this book by saying, when you start researching strength and conditioning in training literature, it's most likely that you're going to be presented information that is almost entirely from an academic point of view or an academic narrative, which is great. But what that means is all of the information that you're reading is going to be very scientific in nature and very logical in nature. And I'm about to give you a 2-for-1. The book on writing well has a really good section on science writing, and that in order for writing to be scientific, there's two characteristics that really stand out. One, you have to have references whenever you're attempting to justify, you know, some sort of point or mechanism or whatever, or at least that's the standard or is a standard. And then secondarily, your writing must build upon itself, but scientific writing like necessitates that almost, in that if you're trying to present some sort of argument or present some sort of information, typically that information is going to be really in depth, and in order for someone to understand what it is you're talking about, you're going to have to provide the requisite details. Each statement has to build upon the last, so that way you can get to that concluding statement, something along those lines. And so if that is all you're reading, you are missing out on the philosophical side of training. And that is what this book right here will do for you. It is philosophical in nature. And when you read this book, you are going to be introduced to a host of philosophical concepts and paradigms that you had no idea existed. And the author presents them in a way that are immediately applicable to training. So it's not only that you're going to be learning about the hero's journey and is or ought, or the idea of small world models, it's that you're going to be learning about those things while referencing training. And if you can combine those two things, science and philosophy, your training journey is going to be so much better, I promise you. And so when you read this book for the first time, it is so refreshing to come across training in a different light, one that is not so bland, if you will, like science sometimes has to be. And the author writes with such personality and vigor, and it's like you just can't stop reading it because every section brings something new and refreshing to the table. So there's my training in the yard book review for the day. The last exercise we are maxing out on for the day is the dreaded overhead squat. Oh boy, here we go. All right, I'm gonna have to take everything off but a 45. I am starting to lose my warmth a little bit. It's getting colder. I'm not moving around as much. So I'm gonna try to not expedite this process, but move a little faster. So that way I can get some warmth back in the system. It's also December. I'm training in my yard in a tank top. So, you know, there's also that. All right, here's how we're gonna do this one. I'm gonna move this back, flip it over so I have some somewhat clean side. I'm just gonna walk back to this platform so I don't have to worry about being in the way of these blocks or anything like that. The easiest way for me to get into an overhead squat is just to pick it up on my back with kind of like a snatch grip width or a little bit closer, and just do a snatch push press into the, ooh, I can face the camera now, so I don't have to worry about the jerk blocks and all that nonsense. Turn the head around here. All right, I always like to give a reason or a few reasons as to why you should do a particular exercise. And so for the overhead squat, you shouldn't do them. They're awful. Tape has gotten pretty loose and I need the support for these, so get a few more wraps here. Uh-oh, I might not have enough tape. Gonna have to be frugal here. Oh, should I just go for 315? Or should I do 300? That was pretty tough. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There's just something about a freaking 3 play date, huh? Come on. Every single millisecond of that, I wanted to quit. I cannot believe I just got that. Holy cow. Not gonna lie, that was a pretty challenging session on multiple fronts. First exercise was tough from a technical point of view, but it was also extremely fun. I'll probably do those more often and try to get good at them. Second exercise was tough from a frustrating point of view. Struggled getting the setup just right, and whenever that happens in a session, it can be easy to spiral and allow yourself to get so frustrated that the rest of your session is doomed. So it's important you notice that early on. If that starts happening, you gather yourself, recollect yourself, and continue moving forward. And then finally, that last exercise was challenging from, that is probably my least favorite exercise ever outside of snatch balances. So yeah, however, with all that being said, it was still a very, very good session, and it's okay for sessions to be frustrating sometimes, because when something is frustrating, something didn't go right, and if something didn't go right, it means there's something to learn from. So, hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you have a great new year. Training is fun.